Hello everyone. In the AWS series, we have covered about various AWS services such as S3 and IAM. Now, the security token service is the last topic in IAM. So let us understand what is a security token service in IAM. Imagine you want to get into a special club but you don't have a ticket. So what you will do, you will go to a ticket booth and show your ID and the booth will give you a pass for a limited period of time. So in this tech world, where you want to access a system or any resource, you use the security token service to get a special pass. This token will be valid for a limited period of time, through which you can access something securely. So it is a web service which allows you to request temporary limited privilege credential for AWS IAM user or a federated user. Now there is a term called as federated user. Now let us understand this thing in detail. So what is a federated user? Suppose that there is a user who can access to your system or application using their own credential from another trusted place. So this type of user that I am talking about is called as federated user. So it is an external user who is authenticated by an identity provider outside of AWS. So here you grant some temporary access to the AWS resources without needing to create an AWS IAM user. So this type of user is called as federated user. Now let us talk about some of the various use cases of security token service. First of all, you can grant temporary access to the user outside of AWS, such as federated user. Second, you can grant temporary permission without needing to create IAM user. Third, you can allow user in another AWS account to access some resource in this account with the help of security token service. Next, let us see the demo of security token service. There is no direct way to implement security token service. You need to have a CLI installed on your machine. So first of all, you need to install your CLI. Search here AWS CLI. Click on this link. Then you have to go to your machine. For example, in my case, it is Windows machine. So I'll go to Windows and I will click on here. Once this is installed, the next step that you have to do is you have to go to Cloud Shell. Now you have to click on here. The first thing that you have to do is you have to create an IAM role. The first thing that you have to do is you have to create an IAM user. So let us say the IAM username will be Abhishek. So what I will do, I will be using this command. AWS IAM create user, username is Abhishek. The first thing that you have to do is you have to create a user. Let us say I want to create a user with name as Avi. So what I will do, I will be using this command. So AWS IAM create user and the username will be Avi. Paste it here and it's done. So this is our first step. All the commands that I am using in this video will be available in description. Second thing, I am creating an IAM policy for an assume role. So what is an assume role? Let us understand. It allows an user or an application to temporarily gain permission assigned to that role. So this is called as assume a role. Basically, you are assuming the role in this. So in order to create an assume rule, you have to use this command. Echo version name, then your statement. In a statement, we know that there will be three things, which is effect, action, and resource. So here the action will be STS assume rule, and the resource will be everything. After that, what I will do, I will save this thing in a file named as assume rule policy.json. Now click on paste, and here we can see that our file is get created. Let us verify it. Just press ls here, and you can see that a file name assume rule policy.json is created. Now let me clear the screen. The next thing that you have to do is you have to create an IAM policy. So what I will do, I will be using this command, AWS IAM create policy. The policy name is assume rule policy, and the document file is assume rule policy.json. So what I will do, I will click on paste, and you can see our policy get created. The thing that we have to remember here is we have to copy this ARN, which is Amazon resource name. So what I will do, I will just copy it here and paste it somewhere. Let us say I am pasting it in my notepad. So let me just paste it here. Once this thing is done, the next step that you have to do is you have to attach the policy to your user, which is Avi. So what I will do, I will be using this command in order to attach it. So AWS IAM attach user policy, and your username is Avi. So let me just edit it. And your policy ARN will be this one. Let me copy this thing. Now you have to press enter, and you can see that your policy is being attached to the username Avi. Next, you have to verify the attached policy. So this is the command that I'm going to use, which is AWS IAM list attach user policy, and the username will be Avi. So you can see that our policy name will be displayed here. The next thing that I have to do is I have to create a trust policy JSON file. So what I will do here, I will just use this command, echo, then your version, statement, effect, principal, and then AWS, what you have to do, you have to specify the ARN that you have just created. So what I will do, I will just copy this thing. You have to create a trust policy JSON file. So this is the command that I am going to use. Remember that you have to replace your AWS ARN with this. So here you can see my ARN number and my username is Avi. Now what I will do, I will just click on paste. Now a file name will be created with name as assume rule trustpolicy.json. You can verify it by using ls. You can see that a file is created. Now let me just clear my screen. Next, I will be creating an IAM rule with the following trust policy that we have just created. So what I will, this is the command that I will be going to use. AWS IAM create rule, your rule name is assume trust rule, and your policy will be this one. So let me just paste it here. It is saying that rule with assume trust rule already exists. So what you will do, now you have to create an IAM rule with this trust policy. So this is the command that you need to use. AWS IAM create rule with rule name assume trust rule, and your policy document will be this, and click on enter. Now what you have to do, you just have to copy this ARN. And let me paste it in the notepad. Once this thing will be done, next let me just clear the screen. Now I will attach the S3 read-only access to this rule. So this is the command that I am going to use. AWS IAM attach role policy, the role name that you have just created, which is assume trust role, and your policy is S3 read-only access. Next, let us verify this thing using this command. AWS IAM list attach role policies. The role name is assume trust role. So you can see that our S3 read-only policy is displayed. You can add any number of other policies also in this role, depending upon what you want to do. Once this thing is done, next what you have to do, you have to clear the screen. Then you have to use this command in order to create an access key for away. The thing that you have to copy is access key ID and secret access key. Now, these two things you have to save it somewhere. I am saving it in the notepad. Let me save the secret access key. Once it is done, I am going to open my command prompt and I am going to configure AWS. Now I will copy my access key ID. Next, I will paste my secret access key here. Next, I will leave as default and default output format. Once it is done, the next step that I am going to do is getting the caller identity from AWS. So this is the command that I am going to use here. AWS STS get caller identity. Now you can see your account number here and your user ID with your ARN name. Next thing, if I try to list the S3 bucket, it will show me a permission error which will look like this. You cannot list the bucket because you don't have the STS policy attached to it. So what I will do next is, I will attach the policies here. So the command that I'm going to use is AWS STS assume role, and I will copy my ARN here. Once it is done, I will just copy it and paste it in my CMD. Now it will give me several credentials such as AWS access key ID, secret access key, session token. So next that I have to do is I have to save these important keys in a variable. So currently I am in Windows laptop, so I'll be using set command in order to save this variable. So the first thing that you need to do is set AWS access key ID and just copy it. Next, you have to follow the same for session token also. Secret access key. Next, you have to follow for secret access key also. And third, what you have to do, you have to set it for AWS session token. And you just have to copy the token and paste it there. Once this thing is done, the next step that you have to do is, you have to try to list the S3 buckets. So the command that I'm going to use is AWS S3 ls. Now it will show me all the necessary buckets present in my AWS account. So this is the demo for using security token service in AWS IAM. Now if you like this, do subscribe to our YouTube channel